every man would want to admit when he's wrong.
Would want to?
Mm-hmm. That's a determiner of a man.
Who said that?
God, I guess.
So, do you have, like, you believe in God?
You can call it whatever you want. The singular universe that's dictated and moves and ends up with us being here going, making sounds and motion that seem to be a communication between different beings, but is in fact a singular being talking to itself.
Like you might be doing. But, and do you believe that everybody has a connection with God? Their own connection?
There's no escaping the universe. Like, everyone is related.
Hmm. Okay. So do you trust people in their connections to God to do exactly what they're up to? What they need to be up to?
Yeah, even if it's diluted and dumb or whatever.
Is that your ego judging or God telling you?
Maybe both.
Okay.
It's like, even if people are doing things, don't even know why they're doing things because they're supposed to.
Do you think you're the only one working for freedom?
No.
Do you believe that other people are being effective how they're working for it?
We all have our jobs, we're all in our places. We'll follow the inspirations as they come. Of course, I see this as the most important thing. That's only because it is.
Yeah. I guess I wonder, I've heard a lot of people say that everything changes when you become a parent.
Well, that's...
And some people, they wanted to save the world or they wanted to be a rock star, but then it became more important to them to directly put food into their kids' mouths.
Yeah. It's a trap, a bit. I've seen a lot of people are sort of raised in families that most parents just know to have kids and then do their best, which is how you raise kids. Ask me the question.
How do you think it would be for you if you knew your dad might die because he wanted to? Or I suppose you don't want to, that's what you told me. If he was intending to die instead of be with you.
Well, if someone's going to tell the kid that I would rather die than be with you, then that someone...
I don't think, say the question isn't about rather as much as like, so you're the little kid and it's like your dad has a choice.
Well, and
he's choosing to die.
Well, you can pretend there's choice all you want.
Oh yes.
At the same time, if you're doing what's right, then the kid will appreciate the nobility most.
What's right for who?
What's right, period.
Okay. So, we don't have any choice.
No.
Because it really feels like I'm choosing to take my boot off.
I know you
to
would
put
think
this
that.
boot on. I didn't straighten my sock. Oh, never mind. No, actually, I think I will.
But it almost becomes evident
like,
as you're demonstrating. Because you could only have demonstrated that.
Well, I don't have. I could do lots of things. I could do anything, it feels like. I feel like I have infinite choice.
Which is fun. Because you don't. You were led to now. You were led to the infinite choice. You were led... It's like, you're Beth. You were born. Your parents gave you their spirit. You grew up in their spirit. You became the person you are.
Mm-hmm.
Your thought flows like life flows.
That's the keys rattling.
And it leads to the now, like everyone else. You're not picking the thought right now in your head.
There wasn't one. Okay. So, I guess that just trips me up a little bit in that, you know, I notice on the good old Facebook, you love to just talk about, you know, patience but it seems like you're telling other people, like you're like, patience and like, once you are no longer going to be deluded by, and by the way, like people get offended by this kind of language, just so you know, because it does create this idea that you know all and the ultimate truth, and from that knowing of all, you can tell others what they should do. And this becomes a trick for people because, you know, we all thought we had our own connection too, and all of a sudden we're told unless we are to manifest our mission in a way that aligns with David Arthur Johnston's, that perhaps we could, that
I think people let themselves think that because it's easier to pass
they don't have
it
choice.
off. Well, of course not.
Let seems
Their
like
experience lets them. Pass the issue off by putting me in front of it.
okay. So you feel like you're more of a channeling this
Well,
message
no,
from the divine
that
kind of
that
thing?
I don't say believe me. I say the universe is ruled by fate. And then people can't delve into that too much, and so they sort of attack the messenger. Because it is a horrible curse. You know, what if I'm right and everyone else doesn't know what they're talking about? Is that, like, objectively, that would have to be a consideration for due consideration to happen? What if I'm right?
Okay. So if you're right, then none of us can do anything differently than what we're doing, and it doesn't matter anyways.
And it means
Now-
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it means lots. Can I just wonder, what if you're not right?
You can, and then I would hope you would conject how I could be not right.
How you could not be right?
Yes.
Well, maybe.
The onus isn't on me to explain fate. The onus is on you to explain choice.
Okay. I suppose when you say there's no choice, I think about some worst case scenarios where we could believe we don't have choice. So for example, I think of like maybe somebody who has a history of pushing themselves onto people sexually, vulnerable people.
Okay.
And so they've done that before, and they've gone through some training for it, and of course maybe it was like fated for them to do it in the first place, some kind of trauma that they were playing out onto this another person. Then coming into a situation where temptation exists, and all of a sudden believing that they don't have choice, and just following that temptation into something that is, in my opinion, it would be so empowering to believe they did have choice, in fact. And we can choose many things. We can choose to be there in person to support our kids, for example. Or we can choose to fight in a political manner that doesn't allow us to be there for our kids. And whether or not any of this is right, it still seems like a choice to a certain extent. And I guess, to me, it's exciting and empowering to think that we have choice. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, I try and think of the reasoning of, like, I try and reason how choice could be possible. And it would have to be magic. It would have to be a little moment right after the now that would let an individual dictate which way the future is going to go.
I believe in magic.
I believe in the fantastic of reality.
Okay. Is that the same as magic?
Well, in you can call it good magic, or I'm talking about impossible magic.
You know something that Rose says a lot?
What?
Is when we heard her say it, she was telling me the other day, she's going to see her grandma, she's like, I'm so excited to see my grandmother, she is like pretty much my most favorite person in the whole world. I'm like, oh yeah? She's like, yeah, but she doesn't believe in magic. And I'm like, oh no? She's like, no. And then every time I've heard her bring up her grandma, not your mama, but the other, she's always mentioning how she just slides in this one piece, but she doesn't believe in magic,
Yeah,